Story. The South African Maritime Safety Authority is continuing its investigation into the ocean oil spill in the Eastern Cape. Some 80 litres of oil spilled in Algoa Bay on Wednesday during bunkering operations. Let's bring you an update now on the cleanup operations and find out how far the investigations are going. I'm speaking now to the authority's Acting Chief Operating Officer, Vernon Keller. Vernon Keller, of course, he's the captain of the Maritime Safety Authority there. Captain Keller, good afternoon. How are the cleanup operations going?
Good afternoon. It's going very well at the moment. Unfortunately, there's not much to clean up at this stage. Most of the oil has dissipated.
So it's all dissipated. There are no concerns you have that the marine life there in that area where the spill happened might be affected in any way?
That was obviously one of our biggest concerns in the beginning of the spill. However, we've done now quite a few patrols along the coastline over the last 2 days, and to date we haven't found any contaminated birds or other marine life. But that doesn't mean that we are out of danger. Obviously, we are continuing the patrols to make sure that we try and find any birds that are polluted so we can clean them up.
What kind of birds use that area as their habitat?
Well, one of the common birds that's over there are penguins, and then obviously the normal seagulls and those kind of birds. And
so far, none of them have been affected in any way by this spill?
Not yet that we've seen, yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you said it's dissipated. Was it a natural way of dissipation, or there had to be some work done to aid the dissipation?
Well, when the oil went overboard, initially we responded, obviously, and a team went out and boomed off the vessel in itself. And then basically they tried to scoop up most of the fuel oil that they could. The heavy fuel oil that went overboard, a lot of it became tar balls. So it was relatively easy to pick it off the seawater. We used normal swimming pool nets to pick it up and contain it in some oil water bins.
Okay, and what about the vessel that was involved in this? What can you tell our viewers about the vessel?
Okay, it's a bulk carrier. She's from Croatia, and she's currently in the port of Bertha, and she's being detained while we are investigating the incident and the root causes of that.
Okay, and how long will the investigation last?
Generally, it's the preliminary inquiry, and it will take normally for the interviews and that sort of thing to take place over 2 days, and then after that is the collating of the report and analysing the data that we have found.
Yeah, is it the first oil spill in that part of the ocean this year?
In terms of this type of operation, yes, it's the first spill for this year. There has been some other concerns raised in the earlier part of this year, but that was contributed to an oil drum that was found on the coastline further down the coast.
Yeah, and are the local authorities there prepared for such events?
Yes, the local authorities are prepared. We obviously have a national oil spill contingency plan as well, and we regularly practice for these kind of things with all the relevant stakeholders like the Department of Forestry, Fisheries and Affairs, Environment, SunParks, SunCops. All of us, the TMPA, Transnet National Port Authorities, we all practice regularly for cleanup operations and oil spills.
Yeah, now, Captain, I mean, operations like these don't come cheap. I mean, you need to put in a lot of resources besides equipment. Is there a cost to this latest one is a figure you can tell us about?
So far, it's too early to account for anything, but we obviously have incurred some expenses, like some of the aerial patrols that we've done with helicopters, sending out some of the smaller boats and that sort of thing. But those costs will be covered by the vessel's insurer.
Okay, finally, after the investigation, what kind of consequences could we expect, for example, if the vessel was found to have violated any rules or not have behaved according to maritime safety rules? What kind of consequences could we expect to be meted out?
It all depends, obviously, on a violation and a number of violations that have occurred. But if it's a serious violation, we'll detain the vessel, and with that will come a detention fee. And if not, then obviously it will just maybe be an admission of contravention that we will issue. But if we see that there's some serious criminal negligence, we'll obviously also revert to the courts and lay a charge against the vessel owner or master, depending on the case. But it all depends on the evidence that we will find.
Okay, thank you very much for your time. That's the Captain Vernon Keller. He's the acting COO of the South African Maritime Safety Authority.